This conference will now be recorded.
All right, excellent. If everyone's ready to go, please make sure that your phone and audio is muted so I can get through this this call to order piece in the introductory part as quick as possible. We can get started, get through the meeting, move on to building needs, and go from there. So here we go. So here's our meeting notice. The Stratford High Renovation Subcommittee of the Building Needs Committee of the Stratford Town Council will conduct a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday, July 6, 2020 via GoToMeeting. Members of the public can listen to the meeting in real time by calling the number and access code provided. Moving forward into the call to order, this is Alan Llewellyn, Chairman of the Stratford High School Renovation Subcommittee. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, we are conducting this meeting virtually on gotomeetings.com on Monday, July 6th, 2020. I'm now going to do a roll call of the members and then the representatives from the town. So I myself am here. Bob Shalou.
Here.
Jack Delapiano, I believe, will not be with us this evening. Robert Dilorenzo.
Here.
Rich Fredette. All right, there's the yes. Susan Lance. All right, we'll skip ahead and move on. Ken Poisson.
Here.
Dr. Janet Robinson.
Here.
Dan Semf.
Present.
And then moving on to the town representatives and consultants. Mayor Hoydick. Town engineer John Casey.
Here.
Board of Ed building supervisor Rich Ruggiero. Dan Wakeling.
Here.
Antonazi architect George Perham.
I'm here.
Antonazi architect Lisa Yates.
I'm here.
Town program manager Paul Drummy.
Here.
Ron Denny from Turner.
Here.
Thanks, Ron. Tim Kleps is not with us, but I believe Jennifer Lynn is.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer. Good to see you this evening. Our recording secretary, Aileen Marsh.
Here.
Town council clerk, Margot Paquette.
I'm here.
Town administrator, Michael Downs. Okay, leave him as open. Is there anyone named who's not mentioned in the roll call list that we need to account for other than the Building Needs Committee members that are on with us early? Okay, so quorum for the subcommittee is 5, which we have. So before this meeting formally is called to order, I'd like to remind everyone to raise their hand if they'd like to speak. When your hand is raised and you're acknowledged, please state your name and affiliation each and every time you are speaking, i.e. John Casey, Town Engineer. These are rules required to officially hold our virtual meetings as per Governor Lamont's executive order. And with that, I will officially call us to order at 5:36 p.m. That will bring us to item 2, which is the approval of the minutes. Paul, these need to be done individually, or can we collect all of them in one motion?
I'd have to defer to Aileen and Margot.
They can be all done at once.
Excellent. So Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the May 4th regular meeting, the June 1st rescheduled special meeting, and the June 15th scheduled special meeting.
So moved. Bob Shalou.
Thank you, Mr. Shalou. Is there a second?
Second, Bob Dilorenzo.
Okay. Are there any corrections, comments, discussion with regards to the meeting minutes items? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. That'll bring us to item 3. Councilman Poisson, anything to report on your end from the town council?
Everything's moving smoothly. Last month, we approved the turnover allowance to keep things moving over the summer, which has worked well in the past. So knock on wood, town council is moving along smoothly.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. That will bring us to item 4, the project financial update. At this point, I will be turning the audio over to Paul Drami, and I will kind of walk people through the master budget sheet. Paul?
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So to date, the project remains under budget. We are standing around $1.4 million remaining in owner's contingency. The budget before you that Alan is scrolling through is up to date. It is, I synced it with the general ledger up until July 2nd was when the CFO handed me the updated general ledger. So these are current numbers that have hit the project to date. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions for Paul concerning the budget under our project financial update? All right, moving right along. That'll bring us to item 5, the Turner change orders for this evening. And at this point, I'll turn things over to Jennifer, and we will go from there.
Great. Do you want me to share my screen, or do you have them queued up? But I'm prepared. If
I have them, and if you need to get into the specifics of them, the individual change orders are in this same folder where this document is. So
okay.
Right, and Jen, there's a synopsis in the narrative in front of us here for each one.
Yep. Okay. So we'll walk through them. I'm going to pull them up on my screen so I can see them. But then, yeah, if there's any questions or comments, we can run through them. Any specifics, it's fine. Okay, so the first item that we have here is COR number 260. This is the incurred pandemic impacts to date. So what we've done is collected all of the costs to date, mostly in 3 categories. Either cleaning products, hand washing, sanitizing stations, additional temporary toilets, those kinds of things. Then the second category we have is cleaning of the actual construction site and our temporary office, making sure we're sanitizing high touch areas as well as well-traveled areas with the workers. And then the third category we have is additional PPE, masks, face shields, additional gloves, and those kinds of items. So we've tallied up all of the items, all of our expenditures to date, and this one totals $160,684.
okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve change order request number 260.
Motion to approve, Bob Shalou.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
Second, Janet Robinson.
Okay. Are there any questions, comments, discussion concerning these pandemic impact items?
Yeah, I've got a question. Dan Semp.
Go ahead, Dan.
Just a question, Jen. What's the breakdown as far as labor and PPE? Is there a sheet that shows the breakdown, or is...
Yes. So for additional PPE, we've spent $10,781 so far. I've attached all of the invoices to date, so you can see the specifics. It's a lot of masks, face shields, and some gloves. The cleaning is a mix of labor and materials. We've bought 2 like large laundry sinks to allow for additional hand washing and washing of PPE. That can happen, for example, like before lunch when you need to take it off and then eat and then come back and put it back on. So that some of the other costs are a mix of labor and material. I don't have a specific labor only value to give you, but
Does this include, just one other question, does this include the interior cleaning of the school itself also, or?
Not the occupied portions of the school. This is cleaning the construction portions of the school, which have expanded now that we are in the last doing phase 3A as well as 2B. So we are now in the back portion of the existing building. But this is not cleaning classrooms that were occupied previously by students. This is cleaning the construction area for the construction workers.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions, comments concerning this? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. And then now Jennifer, walk us through 266.
Oh, okay. So in 266, we projected out future costs based on what we've spent to date on the pandemic. There's, again, they broke it down into 3 categories. The first being additional cleaning, cleaning supplies and cleaning of on-site high traffic areas. And the second category being rental of HEPA negative air machines in lieu of fans. And the third being additional tools, supplies, and PPE. So those 3 things total up to $163,357. These are our projections. They're based on what we're spending. The HEPA negative air machines are a fixed amount per month. The cleaning at this point, based on the size, is a fixed amount per month. As we reduce our square footage and turn over building B, we'll have an opportunity to be spending less on that. But like everything else, this is going to be paid only based on invoices and would be reconciled at the end. So again, we would provide all of the invoices that are incurred against this value.
So Jennifer, we would be okay to classify this particular item as a not to exceed cost for the balance of what you figure to be the expected future pandemic costs?
Not to exceed is a tough number. Is a tough way to categorize it at this point. This has been a fairly unpredictable event here that we're doing. If there are future executive orders, I'm not going to be able to say that we've captured costs for things that we can't foresee. But what we have done, we've taken what we're spending right now on cleaning and PPE and projected those to the end of the project.
But so then calling it allowance would be acceptable?
Yeah. This is our best estimate, based on what we know at this point.
Okay. No, just for tracking purposes and keeping things easy in terms of how we interact with the town council. I think there's certain language that they're comfortable with because it's been seen by them repeatedly. So I think if not going with the not to exceed, we can kind of call it an allowance. And of course, we'll hope that you don't spend it all and you're able to reconcile it and credit some of it back.
Yes. That would be great. But
Chairman?
Yes.
Paul Drummy from Crack. I just want to add to this, both the incurred and the future costs are going to be submitted to FEMA. We're going to be working with Don Savo. We've talked about this prior to the accumulation of costs. So we're looking to get 100% of these costs reimbursed through the federal government. So that's just a note for the committee to let you know that it's not just 60 cents on the dollar. We're shooting for 100% of these costs due to the pandemic.
All right. Thank you, Paul. All right. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to to approve the expected future pandemic costs as per change order request number 266.
So moved, Bob Shallow.
Okay. There's a second to this item.
Second, Bob Dilorenzo.
All right. Is there any questions, comments, discussion concerning this item?
Dan Semstek, I just have one more question.
Yeah, Dan.
And so let me ask you, subcontractors that are coming onto the job site, are they required to supply their own PPE? That's where I'm a little confused. So are we spending money on PPE for these subcontractors coming in, or are these specific to Turner?
So these are specific to Turner. The subcontractors are required to provide their own PPE for their own workers, and they have been. So these are masks and gloves, face shields for the Turner people who are on site, as well as having a couple available for visitors as we don't get a lot of visitors these days, but as they come out. We've purchased cleaning products that have then been used by our laborers to both sanitize our temporary office, the temporary toilets that the workers are using, the entrances, sanitize the PPE, washing stations, and those kinds of things. So some of what we are purchasing is being used to protect the workers that we have on site, but specific to the PPE, no, the workers are being provided PPE from the company that they work for.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
What would prevent them from coming back? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, George.
What would prevent them from coming back later on, with the same notion that this is an unforeseen and these are extra costs that they had to put on as a company?
It is a possibility. We're tracking a few other possibilities at this point with subcontractor costs. There's some time inefficiencies with the amount of the temperature screening every morning, the amount of PPE, the rules and regulations about how you can have a crew of people working next to each other, within 6 feet for a sustained amount of time. And so at this point, we do not have costs from subcontractors for that. And I tried to be clear about that in this COR, that it's, what it specifically covers and what it doesn't cover. So if we get a cost like that from a subcontractor, we're going to have to evaluate it based, against their contract and language, and so.
Okay. Any further questions, comments for Jennifer concerning this item? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Jennifer, that brings us to 261.
Okay. 261 is for Bulletin 13. This is an area that you guys have looked at a couple of times and will again in the future, unfortunately. Bulletin 13 is the knuckle area where we go from the 2-story space in building C, the existing building, to a 1-story space there in between your media center and auto shop, wood shop, and into the existing gym. And so in that area, we are replacing all of the steel and we're replacing all of the deck. And while we have live utilities that run through. So we have door 261, we've been able to finalize the shoring. There are 2 sections of wall that need to get shored while we remove all of the structure around it. And we have, we're shoring the live electrical that runs through this area as it's normally supported from the ceiling or the structure above, and we're removing all of that structure. So it's currently being supported off the floor, out of the way of the steel operation, and then that shoring will get removed. It will get resupported from the structure above once it's been replaced. This is one, I don't know if you all had a chance to review it. This is one that I think makes the most sense by looking through some of the pages in the COR. We have some 3D renderings of the step-by-step process of removing the structure and replacing it, as well as how that interacts with the shoring. You know, if you don't have any questions, that's fine too.
So this is Lisa, just to throw in a little extra information. This area, we've dealt with some of the material costs here prior, but this is, you know, as Jen said, to hold everything up, but also we've connected all of the MEP from the boiler room, which is to the north of this area, to the renovated area to the south, the 2-story area. And so that already had to go through this knuckle. And it's been occupied for all but 9 weeks of construction until a couple of weeks ago. So there's one pathway through, and this is where it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we've removed the water. The domestic water has been cut out, and the fire protection water has been cut out. And so those will get replaced, re-insulated, retested, all of that stuff in this area. The electrical we can't cut out. It's too much, and there's wire in that conduit.
So just so that some of the people who aren't on the subcommittee can see them to get a better understanding, I went into the detail sheets of COR 261, and these are some of kind of the 3D color renderings that that Jennifer was talking about, showing the various you know, steel and shoring that's needed in this knuckle area. So I'll bounce back to the minutes, and then we can back to the agenda, and we can keep moving forward. So are there any questions concerning this this change order number 261? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this item.
And so moved.
Thank you, Bob Shu. Is there a second?
Second, Janet Robinson.
All right. Is there any comments, discussion concerning 261, which is the shoring scope as per Bulletin 13 over at the knuckle area?
Alan, when is this happening?
What's that?
When is this happening?
I'll let Jennifer speak to it, but I believe it's somewhat kind of ongoing and evolving as they proceed through the 2B 3A phase in that space. But I'll let Jennifer speak to the specifics.
So yeah, so the short answer is now. We started removing some of the flashing in that area. There's some asbestos roofing up there, so we needed to uncover some of the conditions before we could really start pulling the deck up. Some of that stuff was exposed at the end of last week before the holiday, and we have deck removal that's scheduled to start this week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Jennifer, take us through 262.
Okay. So 262 is a credit for the playground surface in the back or the north side of the building there, where pre-teach and the preschool rooms open up. This is in conjunction with something on Paul's end here. You guys are going to be still getting this play service and I guess some playground equipment, but through an alternate vendor.
Okay, so this is the credit for the Turner pieces of work. It's a credit in the amount of $38,566. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Okay, second, Bob Shalhoub.
Who made the motion on that? Sorry.
Bob Dilorenzo, or I think Danny.
Oh, thank you. All right, are there any questions, comments, discussions concerning this credit? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. 263.
Okay, so 263 has to do with the trap primers in Building A. We went through and did a survey of all of the trap primers to confirm functionality based on still getting some smell complaints mainly up on the 3rd floor of Building A in the science classrooms. The other thing that we did was we either replaced all of the filters in the vent filters that are up on the roof, or there were 3 locations that did not have vent filters previously. So we've installed those. So now at the roof level, every vent penetration has a carbon filter on it. And now we have confirmed functionality of all of the trap primers in Building A. There were several that were not functioning properly. And so we've taken those costs and had those back charged to the vendor who supplied the trap primers, because they're, obviously they need to function.
Jen, this is Lisa. More than half, right? More than half were replaced at the, when I was looking through, there were a lot of Cs.
There are, the first floor was in bad shape, which was interesting because we don't get a lot of smell complaints on the first floor. It's mostly on the 3rd floor, but so in areas that we had 3 conditions basically. The first condition was the trap primer is functioning and it appears to be dispersing a substantial amount of water. We didn't do anything. We confirmed that it was functioning, and that was that. The second condition was the trap primer was functioning, but the plumbers felt that it could disperse more water when it had a pressure drop, and so they adjusted it so that it dispersed more water. And then the third condition was the trap primer was not functioning properly. So we've separated that condition, and those costs are going back to the vendor. And then in cases where the trap primers were functioning properly, we're submitting those costs here. So just for the plumber's time to go through and test them all.
Okay, and so the cost on this is $8,152. I'll entertain a motion for us to accept.
So moved, Bob Shalhoub.
Motion made by Bob Shalhoub. Is there a second?
Second, Janet Robinson.
Okay. Any further comments, questions, discussion concerning this item?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's Ken.
Go ahead, Ken.
Yes, I was wondering how often these are going to have to be inspected and or changed or replaced, and does the Board of Ed and Rich and Danny know about it?
I'll have to look up the replacement time. The ones that were not functioning were basically the reason that's on the vendor's cost is because they should have been functioning after 2 years. So but I guess I won't speak for Dan, but the Board of Ed in the town is aware of the trap primers, and I just have to look at the literature to see how often they're supposed to be replaced or serviced.
All right, go ahead, Danny. I saw the hand.
Yeah, no, we know that they're in, we usually inspect them. Usually you could tell right away if there's an odor, but it's more in the areas, floor drains, and areas that aren't used a lot, don't get washed a lot. that we have the problems. But once they work, they usually work for a long time. You know, they don't usually have like a short shelf life. So hopefully we're good once they all work.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Okay, go ahead, Dan Semf.
Dan Semf, building needs. So if half of these failed, are we sure we're using the, is there a different model? Is there a different avenue for us? If half of these failed already, are we going to run into the same issue? My question is, we're paying $8,000 to correct a problem that was due to a manufacturing issue.
Well, we think actually that the problem it's sort of a multifaceted problem. So the changing the or adding the pressure reducing valve at each of the domestic water service locations is part of this, because there's two parts that we're tackling here with the ongoing smell issues. One would be reducing the pressure in the building so that the trap primers feel the pressure drop more frequently with a lower pressure in the building, and then two, confirming that all the trap primers are in fact functional and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So
my question is, if we went back to the manufacturer and said, listen, half of these units have failed, which has caused us to go and look and see there's additional issues that we're looking into right now. What responsibility does the manufacturer have as far as these overall units are concerned? And I think they should be on the hook for the $8,000, because we wouldn't have had the problem if we didn't have a problem from the start with these units. The $8,000 cost wouldn't have existed, correct?
So the 2,800 of this is vent filters for at the roof level, which has nothing to do with the trap primer. So separating that out, you know, we could have that conversation with the manufacturer. Changing the model gets tricky. There's not a lot of room for these. We did look into changing them to a different type of trap primer, and in some of these locations we cannot fit a different trap primer, you know, one based on a lower flow or it was something that actuates differently.
I just don't, I'm not comfortable with, even though it's $8,000, you know, it's $8,000 here, it's $5,000 there for units that are brand new that failed. Just, you know, it seems to be ridiculous that we got to go through this.
Alan, I have a question. It's Ken.
All right, just hold on, Ken. I want to wrap up with Danny's questions, concerns first, and I don't know if Lisa or George is maybe going to want to weigh in and see if this is something that we could have the MEP engineer, you know, take a look at and weigh in on.
Yes, I can absolutely ask IES to look at this further. I will also say, if you look at the change order and you look at the plans, the vast majority of this is being borne by the plumbing subcontractor. My thought is that they're going to be interested in knowing from the manufacturer why these are not functioning. They installed non-functional trap primers as well. We might have some you know, collaborative interest in that way, unless they put them in wrong.
Right, but again, the only way that would get determined would be if the mechanical engineer and the manufacturer's rep were to do a site visit and ascertain the installed conditions.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they've been replaced at this point, so.
All right, Ken, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I totally understand what Danny's saying, and I think we all agree with him to a point that we hate paying people to fix their own mistakes. But I guess the way Jen just described it, and Lisa, some of it had to do with other things. So I could see the 460 and maybe the 2,800, but the 3,950 just to pay them to go back to make sure that things were working, that's the one I have a problem with.
Oh, it's Dan Senft again. So my suggestion would be hold back on the $8,000. Let's see what they say about the 3,500, and then we'll pay them the 8,000 if we're satisfied with their response.
So, okay, so right, so there's three issues here. So the first is what Ken was talking about, right? So we have $460 to install a pressure gauge, which we needed to do. This is how we were led to the needing the pressure reducing valve, based on pressurization of the building. That has nothing to do with trap primers functioning or not functioning. We have 2810, which is installing the 3 new carbon filters at the roof, as well as new filter media at all of the other locations. Again, that has nothing to do with functioning or non-functioning trap primers. So the portion of this cost that is related to trap primers is $3,950. So that portion of it, we will go back to the vendor, through the plumber, and get a response from them. So, but at a minimum, the 460 plus the 2810, would be resubmitted.
I hate to belabor the point, but these additional ones that they installed, what was the rationale for putting in the additional ones? Why wasn't that put at the beginning of the process when they installed the original ones? Why these extra ones now?
The vent filters?
Yes.
They were difficult. They're ones that had lightning protection on them, and so at this point we needed to, in order to replace these, we needed to remove the lightning protection and then reinstall it. So when they went through and also these are ones that are farther away from the air intakes at the DOAS units. So though after a site visit from IES, they identified 2 of these that they felt, even though they're outside the radius, your typical air intake radius, they felt based on what they were smelling up on the roof that these ones should get vent filters on them. So we removed the lightning protection, we installed the vent filter, or the cap, and then reinstalled the lightning protection.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so while Jennifer was talking, I did some quick math. So backing the 3,950 out of the 8,152 leaves us with an amount of 4,202. And so I don't know if Jennifer will maybe have to kind of retweak and adjust her numbers a little bit, but just in terms of, in terms of rough order of magnitude, it's kind of adjusted in half by taking out that 3,950. So Jennifer, do you want to get like a conditional approval of the 4,000, kind of 202 and leave the 3,950 out there, or would you guys prefer to just kind of keep it all bundled together and rework it and represent it?
No, it would be appreciated to get the 4,202 approved, based on based on those first 2 items, and then that will leave us with the third item to either resubmit or not.
Okay, is everybody comfortable proceeding in that manner?
Yep.
Ken?
Yeah, if we're just going to vote on the 460 and the 2810, and then adding in the general conditions and the fee and holding off on the 3950, yes, that's fine.
Okay, excellent. And then as the motioner and the seconder, I just want to make sure that Bob Shalou and Janet Robinson are comfortable with amending the 263 amount to the 4,202.
Yes, Bob Shalou.
Yes, Janet Robinson.
Excellent, excellent. All right, thank you both. All right, are there any other questions, comments, concerns concerning this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. We have an approval on that in the amount of $4,202. That brings us to 264.
Okay. Scrolling. 264 is some data cabling for Altice. They requested that our subcontractor do the data cabling that was on site rather than having their forces do that work. So they brought the utility to the pole on North Parade Street, and we brought it outside the building and then inside the building into the data room. So this, oh man.
Sorry about that, just me there. So Jennifer, you guys did this work at the request of Altice?
We did. We had a meeting with them ahead of time, so it wasn't a complete surprise. But they requested that Dinto do the work on the site rather than their own forces.
All right, so does Altice not have any kind of like a working relationship with Dinto, and that's how this kind of ended up on you guys?
Yeah, not to my knowledge.
All right, does anybody want, I'll entertain a motion to approve this item?
Motion to approve, Bob Shalou.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Is there a second?
Second, Janet Robinson.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Comments, discussion concerning this item? All right, hearing none, I will bring this to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. And then I think, Jennifer, this is your last one here, 265.
Yes. So 265 is for a demo of the culinary trailers. We had originally submitted this to include the demo of the trailers themselves, which the town did them. You guys did on your own. We did two things. The first was removal of the fire alarm system. Since the fire alarm in there connected back into the building and part of the existing fire alarm system that is tied to the entire school, we did that fire alarm surgery very carefully. And secondly, we did some stone down at the curb to allow the actual trailers to leave the site on the truck. So it's $1,307.
Okay, is there a motion to accept this cost?
So moved, Dan.
Okay. Second, Bob Shalou.
All right, who made the motion on that again? Sorry.
I did, Dan Sempt.
Dan Sempt. Okay, thank you, Danny. Any questions, comments, discussion concerning this item? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, and so Jennifer, we're gonna stay with you, just kind of walk us through the the plans and schedule, the dashboard for what's upcoming, and I'll get to the dashboard and try to follow along with your presentation.
Okay. Yeah. This is fun doing it like this. So I think that this month, well, I mean, pictures are always great, but I think that this month the pictures that were in the monthly report give a pretty good update. In the main civic. Okay, sorry. In the main civic lobby, we have the terrazzo down. It's being finished and ground down at this point. So it doesn't have the that shiny appearance yet, but it really does look sharp in that main lobby area with the high ceilings and the big red S. In the auditorium, we have the auditorium seats have been installed, and the millwork is being finished up with the last parts and pieces, and that area looks great. We're expecting the stage extension to ship at the or this week. It shipped today, I believe, and now it is expected to be on site next week. We have the main gym, the basketball hoops and the bleachers have been installed. The folding partition is being installed at this point, and then we'll move into floor finishing in about 2 weeks. Over in the existing building, demolition and abatement are ongoing at this point. Most of the walls and ceilings are down. There are still areas under containment. Let's see. Site work wise, we have fine grading and prep in the south lot, where we will be paving towards the end of this month. We've started punch list. Lisa and IES were out on site today to start punch list in the music classrooms and health classrooms and the music technology area. And so that process has started and will continue around building B. And we will be continuing to complete punch list items and work to complete items. We have testing, fire alarm testing has been ongoing, ANSEL testing in the culinary areas, and as we start to look forward to walkthroughs with the town, with the fire marshal, and occupancy is is coming pretty close here. So I think that's sort of the schedule update. We've got we do continue working in building A. We've continued to be working on the HVAC systems, including the VRFs, which, as you know, have been a pretty constant thing for us to be working through. We have floor remediation going on in building A at this point. We have removed sheet vinyl flooring in the science classrooms. We're in the process of doing moisture mitigation up there right now, with the intention of putting back the sheet vinyl flooring in the classrooms and reinstalling the furniture over the next several weeks. At this point, I believe at this week we should be starting to remove the rubber flooring on the first floor, which is the last floor that did not get remediated last summer. Again, after we remove the floor, there'll be moisture mitigation that goes down, and then installing the new rubber flooring. So those are the main schedule highlights. The billing projections are there on the dashboard as well as the current status of the budget.
And then Jennifer, just to clarify for everyone, this contractor that's putting down both the first and upper level science area, different rubber floorings, this is a different contractor than has handled this product previously, correct?
So Urban Contractors is the subcontractor that that we have for carpet and resilient flooring, and we still have a contract with them as part of their takeover agreement with the bonding company. They're being supplemented by a company called Union Flooring, but the original subcontractor is still involved.
Okay. Thank you for.
Alan, I have a question. It's Ken.
Go ahead, Ken.
Jennifer, are they also, is Union and whoever, Urban, are they also totally fixing all the little minor flaws that still existed on the second and third floor, so that when everything's done this summer, is the floor going to be totally perfect?
No. I wouldn't say that the floor is going to be totally perfect. At this point, we are still waiting for them to respond in writing to Lisa's punch list that notes those items of concern on the second floor and on the third floor. We do not have that in writing from them at this point. And the exact solution to those items have not been determined at this point.
Okay, well, I think we're all looking forward to when the whole building, all the floors are totally perfect. And I know you are too, but I just wanted to reiterate what we've said in the past. I know we're all on the same page here. We're just really looking forward to it getting resolved and the floor being totally perfect.
I agree that we are definitely looking forward to being resolved. I'm not going to commit at this point to the resolution to the flooring being total perfection. Just yeah.
All right. I think Bob Shalou had something he wanted to say.
I had a question regarding the Turner contingency. She showed 1.5 million. Will the pandemic costs of 300,000, are they reflected in those costs, or will that affect it?
Well, so the first two CORs that we went through with the pandemic impact costs at this point are being presented as change orders to the project. It is likely that at the end of the project we will be able to return funds to be able to cover that, which we anticipate being able to evaluate that after we turn over Building B and get a little bit more resolution to the flooring issues and the mechanical issues in Building A.
Okay.
Dan Senf?
So with that in mind, and with the start of the school year fastly approaching, do we think, or do we foresee, maybe this is a question for Dr. Robinson or Lisa or George, or yourself, Jennifer, do we foresee any changes that we need to make, whether it be additional sanitizing stations or different things that they're going to need to conform to the protocol for the different school systems now throughout the state? And I think that's going to be a concern too, as far as our overall contingency. And do we see any relief coming from either the state or federal in regards to complying to COVID?
That's a really good point you're making. Yeah, there's no question. There's supposed to be sanitizers in every room and other types of things that are available, and kids not drinking from common water fountains, but rather filling bottles and so forth. But I don't see a lot of relief coming. The CARES money that's being contested with the Secretary of Education and so forth is not going to spread far enough to do all throughout the whole district.
So based on the fact that we do need sanitizing stations in each room, did we go out and purchase that at this particular point? Is that something that we're looking into?
We're looking into all kinds of sanitizers. We were about to purchase for the entire district, not just Stratford High School, but for the entire district, some foaming sanitizers, and the state came out with with guidance that had some other chemicals in it. So we're now researching other sanitizers.
So Paul, would this be covered by the state for the school project?
So Dan, I'll look into it and get back to the committee. The conversations I had with Don Savo from the town were the hard costs coming from the CM. The Board of Education side, I don't have an answer for you at this moment, but I can look into it.
Right. Speaking generally about the Office of School Construction, they don't like to reimburse for operational costs. I don't know exactly where, hand sanitizer dispensers will fall in that.
I agree with you.
All right.
Ken, go ahead. All right. So before I any other questions for Jennifer off of the dashboard or the 6-week look ahead that's attached as part of the minutes? All right. I think we're set with you, Jennifer. Thanks for your report. So before kind of we move things forward, I just want to say in furtherance to Bob's question concerning the contingency, we've already seen 2 givebacks from Turner. And I think everybody's very much anticipating that as we get closer to the end of the major construction, we're hopefully anticipating seeing another give back. And then just at the tail end of item 6 on the agenda, Paul has put in the website address. I was there myself today looking at the pictures. So, obviously there's more than just the 4 that are on the Turner dashboard. So if anyone's interested, there are some very current photos of the project that are on that website. Next, under item 7, this is our usual monthly notification. Our next regular meeting will be Monday, August 3rd at 5:30 p.m. If it's needed, the special meeting would be on Monday, July 20th. And that brings us up to item number 8, which is the discussion about the on-campus athletic field, which is going to be led by Antonazzi. So Lisa, I'll turn it over to you, and I'll scroll down to the photo of the field that's in the package.
So Chairman, I'll take the lead on this. Paul, join me from Crack.
Sorry about that, Paul. My bad. But
okay.
Take it away.
All right. So first, before I get into the field markings and the cost before the committee, I just wanted to make certain that everybody received the distributed information this afternoon. One of those items that I distributed via email to the committee was King Street trees. So we had a couple meetings with John Casey and Jay Hibansky, and just to kind of figure out what our options were for the trees on King Street, going back and forth. And at the end of the day, the town's environmental conservation superintendent, Kelly Kerrigan, her recommendations is what the project team is moving forward with. And those are 2 eastern redbuds and 2 flowering dogwoods. In that email that I distributed to the committee, there's an attached email with her thoughts on the matter. Are there any questions on the trees before I move on to the athletic field markings? Okay, hearing none. Okay, so moving on to the updated field markings plan was distributed last Thursday to the committee. Ken Poison, Jack Elpiano, and Tony D'Angelo have been working with really what is a town's agent, because Field Turf is managed these synthetic turf fields throughout the town and is a trusted agent for the town. So that being said, we reached out to Turner and asked permission for us to do this directly with the town and save some markup costs, and Turner was agreeable to that, and we thanked him for it. So these costs to do the markings, the center logo, and to have an upgrade of the turf to a Vertex Prime, which also comes with a 10-year warranty. All in totals $61,000. And I have Councilman Poison on the line to kind of answer anybody's questions that they may have.
Yes, Paul, the thinking behind this was Vertex Prime is the top line of turf that Field Turf has. They upgrade their warranty from 8 years to 10 years, and it's the exact same turf that was just installed last month at Bunnell. So this way, the two new turf fields in town will have the same turf with the same warranty. And as Paul said, Field Turf has installed all of the turf fields in Stratford, and knock on wood, so far they've been beautiful. They've given us no problem. They're also on the state bid list through the correct co-op list. So we're just looking forward to another great turf field here in town.
Any other questions? So I guess, Councilman Poison, I guess one question I'd received from various people is the coloring on the actual plan itself looks more maroon than it does red. Can you speak to that? Is it just the distributed plan, or are we going to be looking more on the maroon side when it comes to the Stratford red?
This drawing here was just a presentation drawing.
Okay.
They just put that 10-foot so-called warning track around the, next to the fence to give people warning that they're approaching the fence. They just made it maroon. You can see the red is the lacrosse lines. That would be a very easy change. If the committee wanted to go to red around there, that would be a very easy change.
Thank you. Any other questions?
They would have to know that in the near future, though, I would say, Paul. So if the committee wanted to do red instead of maroon, that's something we would probably need to know sooner rather than later.
So I guess I would ask the committee if they are agreeable to the appears to be the color that's going to be.
I think, Paul, the other thing we have to remember is that the only other field in town that has a warning track like this is Penders. And Penders has kind of a brownish warning track because that's what people are used to as a warning track color, as you're a danger approaching the fence. This is just the first color that Field Turf put out because this is what they usually do, like to put like a brownish. So they picked the maroon because they knew the Stratford High colors were, the red. There is red on the field already with the lacrosse. We could, do whatever the committee wants.
This is Lisa here. I just wanted to point out that the red in the SHS is also the maroon. You might want to switch that and not the outside.
So that's coming from the designer. Ken, any thoughts on that?
Rich Fredette.
I think if we put the red SHS, that would be good. The total red around the outside for the warning track might be a little too much because you don't usually see red warning track, but the red SHS to match all the other red S's and everything in the building and elsewhere and to match the stuff that's in the gym would probably be a good idea.
All right, let's make note of that. Rich Fredette, do you have a comment to make here?
Yes, I would support what Mr. Poison is saying, that the red on the in the center would be, I think, appropriate with maroon along the outside.
All right, excellent. So, is it safe to say then we're all in agreement on having the SHS letters be in red, and then we'll keep the maroon at the perimeter?
I agree.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And then, Paul, the only thing I want to kind of clarify before we go through the motion on this is this 61,000 will come out of that separate item we've been carrying for the athletic field.
That's correct, Chairman.
Okay. That having been said, in interest of moving things along, I'll entertain a motion to approve this item in the amount of $61,000.
I'll move Bob Salou.
Second by Richard.
All right. Any further questions, comments, discussion concerning this item?
Yes, Alan, it should be noted in the minutes so we can tell Field Turf that the committee prefers the SHS to be changed to red or crimson or whatever the official school color is. So they
Exactly.
know. So we'll keep the warning track, the maroon, and change the SHS to red. So just note that in the motion, please.
Exactly, we'll do. Yeah, as Lisa had said, and I know Paul made note, we want it to match the red that's in the other parts of the building.
Correct.
All right. That having been said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. And then that brings us to item 9 under new business. Paul, are you going to take us through the Vicky Soto Early Learning Center playground equipment item?
Sure. Thank you, Chairman.
All right.
So,
all right, continue.
So early on in design and then into the GMP, the project had the poured surface and the surrounding fence just outside the pre-teach program. And what was not decided at that point was what kind of equipment we were going to have for the pre-K. So for the last 6 months, I've been working with Jack and Janet to kind of figure out what direction they wanted to go programmatically, what kind of equipment they were looking for this particular age group, ages 2 to 5. So we had a series of meetings, and that led up to a meeting that Alan joined us to kind of review the actual elements in the playscape itself. And if anybody had reviewed this and clicked on the link, it kind of shows you the playscape and the surrounding elements to this particular play area. Both Janet and Jack agreed that all these elements met the programming for this age group. We engaged with a DAS pre-qualified vendor who is a subject matter expert, creative recreation. He joined us with that meeting. He was extremely informative, answered all the questions that Janet and Jack had. We have the okay from the Board of Education and Administration, and now it is time to bring this before the committee for approval, consideration. And I kind of did the math for the committee because we had just received a credit from Turner on the amount of $38,566. The total for creative recreation for all the play equipment, the poured surface, the drainage underneath the poured surface, the chain link fence, totals $104,783 minus the $38,566. So we're netting at the end of this meeting $66,217 coming out of contingency to basically finish the design for that pre-teach program. Are there any questions? Janet, do you want to add anything?
No, Paul, just to say that the designs are very creative and wonderful for our children. So I think this will be a great add for the program in the school.
Thank you, Janet.
All right. So, I just wanted to add, from having been on the been on the call myself, it was, it's nice to hear that this playground is going to be considered, an inclusive playground, and that some of the pieces of equipment actually have, points of transference that are there to, accommodate wheelchair, and or other handicapped, students who may be part of the program. So I thought that was another great benefit to the, to the town as well moving forward. So at this point, I will accept a motion to approve this cost. And again, because we're issuing the contract in the full amount to Creative Recreation, this would be an approval in the full amount of $104,783.
So moved, Janet Robinson.
Second, Bob Shalhoub.
Any further questions, comments, discussion concerning this item?
Alan, just, I know it's obvious, but just to note it that this is going to the town council with a favorable recommendation.
Exactly. I've been having some side conversations with a couple other people as we've been going through that, all of the items here that are above the $25,000 threshold are all going to be going to town council with favorable recommendation. So we'll make sure we keep that clear at Building Needs.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Not a problem. All right. Any other questions, comments, discussion on this item? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Are there any other items to be brought forth under new business?
Just a quick update, Chairman. The second half of my email I distributed this afternoon talked a little bit about the photovoltaic. We met with the town's solar energy consultant, CSW, on July 2nd, John Casey, Antonazzi, IES, Craig, to start the conversation. So there'll be more information being distributed to the committee in the coming months. One, the pros and cons between a power purchase agreement versus the system ownership. The economics and the liabilities. We'll talk a little bit about the ZREC program from UI, the Phase 4 state grant process, and how this impacts our schedule.
All right, thank you, Paul. Any other items to be brought forth under new business? Ken, anything?
No, not for me.
All right, hearing none, under item 10, motion to adjourn.
So moved, Bob Shalhoub.
Second.
Janet Robinson, second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, chair votes aye, and we are adjourned at 6:45 p.m. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
This conference.
You're good.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the Building Needs Committee of July 6, 2020 to order at 6:46 p.m. This is Ken Poisson, 6th District Councilman and Chairman of the Building Needs Committee. The next item is the approval of minutes. I'll take a motion to approve all 3 minutes that are noted on the agenda. May 4th, June 1st, June 15th.
So moved, Bob Dilorenzo.
Hey, do we have a second?
Second, Ron Ticky.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is ongoing items. 3A is Board of Ed buildings. A1 is Stratford High Renovations Subcommittee. Mr. Llewellyn.
Thank you, Chairman Poisson. Stratford High Subcommittee met prior to Building Needs Committee. Had a good session. Progress continues to move forward. I think I'm hoping that by now a lot of people have seen and gotten access to the pictures. Everything's looking good as they move along. As usual, as part of our discussion, there were several change orders brought forward, some by Turner, some by other entities, but I'll start working my way through those items. So the first item brought forward by Turner was change order request number 260, which was a breakdown of their various PPE, construction area cleaning and cleaning station setups for the already incurred pandemic impacts. I would move that we send this to Town Council with favorable recommendation in the amount of $160,684.
Second, Dan Semple.
Thank you, Jenny. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next, Ellen.
Next item was change order request number 266. This is the anticipated expected future pandemic costs. Again, now that the monthly costs for the additional cleaning, additional PPE are known, Turner has requested us to approve an allowance amount. They will again track all these costs, present final numbers later on down the road. But I would move that we send this to Town Council with favorable recommendation in the amount of $163,557.
Is
So
there a
moved,
second?
Bob. Second, Bob Dilorenzo.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
Item number 261, this was as a result of Bulletin 13, modifications to the shoring scope. This is in the area where, there's that knuckle where building B and C meet. I would move that we send this to Town Council with favorable recommendation in the amount of $50,711.
Second, Dan Semple.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
Change order request number 262. This is a credit for the poured play surface, the site prep, and the fencing for the playground area at the preschool. This will kind of get tied up in a further item later on, but I would move that we accept and, if needed, send to Town Council with favorable recommendation in the credit amount of $38,566.
Is there a second?
Second, Bob Dilorenzo.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting this credit?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
Item number 263, this is for the continued modifications and filter ads relative to the trap primer issues over in Building A. This item had 3 pieces to it. We approved 2 this evening. I would move that we accept the 2 approved items in the amount of $4,202.
Is there a second?
Second, Bob Dilorenzo.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
Item 264, this was work performed by Dinto Electric, some data cabling work to support Altice with the installation of the teledata system. I would move that we accept this in the amount of $1,094.
Is there a second?
Dan Semple.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
Item number 265, this is related to the demolition and prep work for the culinary trailer. This item was basically in two pieces. One was for the removal of fire alarm and temporary tie-in to keep the fire alarm system up and running. And the other piece of it was a stone at the curb to allow for the trailers to be pulled out. I would move that we accept this in the amount of $1,307.
Is there a second?
Second, Bob Dilorenzo.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
All right, that concludes our Turner items for the evening. The next item that got taken up is as part of our ongoing providing of the turf field for the Stratford High building. We have more defined sort of scope, and so I don't know if the shared screen is still up, but we have an ad for the field markings upgrade to a 10-year turf under warranty, which will match the exact turf that's been placed up at Bunnell. These SHS letters that are in the middle are not going to be this maroon color. They're going to be the Stratford High red, but the surround around the field is going to stay in that maroon color based on what the subcommittee discussed at our meeting. But at any rate, the turf upgrade and to get these final field markings, I would move that we send to Town Council with favorable recommendation the field turf quote in the amount of $61,000.
Second.
Is there a second? Hey, any discussion? Okay, this was discussed thoroughly at the Stratford High meeting right before this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Next.
So our last item is the Early Learning Play Center equipment. This will be inclusive of the poured played surface, the site prep, the fence, and the curbing. As we all know earlier, we took a credit from Turner for that amount. So the actual contingency differential amount that's coming out to cover this, bear with me for a second, $66,217 is the final cost of the contingency. But as we are awarding the full quote to Creative Recreation, I would move that we approve this and send to Town Council with favorable recommendation in the amount of $104,783.
Okay, is there a second?
Dan Semp.
Okay, is there any discussion on top of what Alan has just explained and what we just talked about at the SHS meeting? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's hope we have continued favorable weather like we've seen for these last few weeks, and maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised with the amount of space that we're able to get when the kids return to school in a few weeks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. That would be awesome. Okay, item 3A2 is open work orders for the Board of Ed, which were emailed to us previously. Thank you very much for doing that. As always, does anybody have any questions for Rich or Danny? I don't think Rich is on. Any questions for Danny?
This is just for school?
Yeah, this is just Board of Ed right now. Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to item 3B, which is general town buildings, open work orders, building repairs, also emailed out to us ahead of time. Thank you very much for doing that, as always. Any questions for Danny about town buildings?
Danny, just one question. It's Dan Semp. Just one question.
Yeah.
It's town building. It's the bell tower up at booth. The clock's not working, and a couple of people have complained to me that after we spent the money to get that thing up and running, it hasn't been running for several weeks now.
I thought we had a problem. They overwound the clock and it was jammed in there, and I believe they fixed it, but I will check on it tomorrow to make sure. And I know they had a problem with that, so they brought one of the parks guys in with one of the clock people that volunteer up at booth, and they I thought they resolved it, but I will check on it tomorrow.
All right, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Danny, they're obviously going to tell the people to stop overwinding it then?
Yeah, I think somebody else might have done it that doesn't normally do it, and just went a little too far and jammed something. So I think they know better now.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Danny on town buildings, open work orders, general repairs? All right, item 3B2 is Booth Park buildings. Besides the clock, which will get looked into, any other updates or questions on Booth Park?
We just finished painting the outside of the dance hall and the rose garden shed that they have. We repaired a ton of rotted wood that was on there. Renovated the bathrooms inside the dance hall. They're pretty much done. We have just a few items left on that. And after that, we're planning on like doing the floors and painting the inside in-house, do it ourselves.
Looks real nice, Dan.
Thanks.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, one other question. Did they start moving stuff in on the house that they're going to use for the memorial? Has that been started yet?
I don't know if anything's been done in there yet.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Danny. I know a lot of kids and their families were up at Booth Park during graduations and taking pictures up there in their cap and gowns and everything, and everything looked great. And that's a credit to you guys and the Parks Division.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4 is new business. The first thing under new business is bid 2020-046, the Bunnell High School flooring abatement and replacement project. Danny, can you just give us a little background on that?
Yeah, these are the floors. It was spurred, well, the carpeting was 30 years old and it was coming up and there was asbestos tile underneath it in a good portion of the whole school. It was brought to OSHA's attention. It was something that needed to be addressed. So they found a way to hopefully we're going to get it all done over this summer. And this company was on the state bid list. They were the low bidder. They still got 3 prices from companies. I'm not sure how to say it, Best Tech. And, you know, they're ready to move forward and do the abatement now. We moved all the furniture out of there. So looking for it brought to the council with favorable recommendation.
Danny, I saw a truck up there today with an abatement company.
Yeah, that's them. I think they were just going over because they were moving everything out of there and they wanted to make sure everything was, I guess, done before they got going.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this and send this to town council with favorable recommendation in the amount of $333,800.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Ron Ticky.
Hey, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Excuse me, Chairman?
Yes, Aileen, I was just going to do the next one right now.
No, before that, can you make your, the motion to formally say that it is being awarded to Best Tech Inc. in the amount of $333,800, please?
Yes, absolutely. Understood.
Thank you.
And the people who made the motion and the second are okay with that? Thank you, Aileen.
Yes.
Danny, under new business, we also have to award another contract for the flooring. Can you give us background on that?
Yeah, also that is for the flooring contract to do the installation of the Nora flooring that they have, that they're getting for that floors. And it's Burrell and Cornover. And they should be, on site if they get approved once the abatement is done. And they're hoping they have a lot of the flooring in stock. They'll be able to get all the flooring done before school starts. So that's the hope. And their price was $726,593.
Okay, can someone make a motion on that, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve, what is it, Conover?
Yes.
Yeah, Burrell and Conover.
Burrell and Conover.
For the amount that Danny stated previously.
Okay, and send to the town council with a favorable recommendation in the amount of $726,593.
Yes.
Second, Ron Ticky.
Okay, is there any discussion? Yeah, I know they're finally getting going because the state was holding this project up, but now we've got the green lights from everybody. We should be good to go.
Yes, we're good to go. We should get the reimbursement from the state.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Is there anything else under new business? Okay, hearing none. The next item agenda is item 5. Our next regular meeting is Monday, August 3rd. Special meeting will be Monday, July 20th, if it's so needed from Stratford High or anything else. Item 6 is adjournment. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Dan Senft.
Is there a second?
Second, Ron Ticky.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, as always, everybody, thank you very much for your time and dedication. We are adjourned at 7:06 p.m. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.